Welcome to the first video of the Dementia Isolation Toolkit training series. In this video, we will talk about the different tools available in this toolkit, including an ethical decision-making tool. You can also check out the second video, which shows how to develop a person-centered isolation care plan. The Dementia Isolation Toolkit, also known as the DIT, was created to help care teams and people living in long-term care homes during the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of a long-term care team, you know firsthand that the pandemic has made it harder to provide person-centered care while protecting everyone in the home from COVID-19 and taking care of your own well-being. This is one of the key ethical challenges that the DIT addresses. How do we balance the well-being of individuals with the need to protect them and others from exposure to COVID-19? The DIT was created in collaboration with long-term care homes to address ethical dilemmas such as this. It is designed to help you face difficult decisions about balancing person-centered care and the prevention of COVID-19. Infection prevention and control measures have become central to our daily care activities to help us prevent and control deadly outbreaks in the home. The first step is to recognize when someone is showing symptoms of COVID-19. This is tricky because for people living in long-term care, the symptoms of COVID-19 are often different than what we expect. Some people with dementia infected with COVID-19 can have no symptoms or mild symptoms, or they can have changes in behavior such as delirium. Infection control measures are important, but they can be difficult to put into practice. They may have a negative impact on the well-being of people living in long-term care, including those with dementia, who may need to be isolated to their rooms. Being isolated to one's room and separated from social connections can cause emotional distress and changes in behavior in response to this distress. Because of this, care teams are often faced with difficult decisions when using infection control measures such as isolation. There often isn't one right answer or choice. For care teams, this can be emotional and stressful. We know that we need infection prevention and control measures such as isolation. The question is, how can we do it safely and compassionately, and while protecting everyone's physical and emotional well-being? The DIT offers several ethical tools to help you find this balance, including the Ethical Guidance Tool, an Ethical Decision-Making Tool, and communication tools. Making difficult decisions can have an impact on your own well-being, especially when you feel like you have few choices, or those choices go against your personal values. For example, having to refuse visitors or prevent people from leaving their rooms or the home. You may know what decision feels right for you, but because of policies or lack of resources, you are prevented from making those decisions. These types of experiences can produce feelings of anger, frustration, and anxiety. This is often referred to as moral distress. To help with moral distress, we want this toolkit to help you face and work through difficult decisions while protecting your own well-being and the well-being of people living in the home. Work through ethical dilemmas in a way that aligns with your own values, and respond to difficult decisions with creative problem-solving, flexibility, and adaptability. Doing these things will help build what we call moral resilience. Moral resilience can help you through the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. While protecting everyone in the home, we need to make sure the restrictions we place on people's movements and interactions with others are proportionate to the risk of spreading infection. We want to make sure we are not causing unnecessary harm. We also need to minimize any added harms of our infection control policies through strategies that enhance the emotional and physical well-being of the person being isolated. The Ethical Guidance Tool helps you and your team think about how to balance the unique risks and needs for each person who is isolated. This tool covers principles such as reciprocity, fairness, transparency, and how these can be applied while making ethical decisions. It also encourages care teams to think about personhood and supporting people's unique interests and needs. It is important to think about giving back to ease the burden on someone who is isolating, and to remember that they are giving up their freedoms to protect others in the home. For more information, you can read through the Ethical Guidance tool to understand how these principles of ethical decision-making apply during a pandemic. The next tool in the DIT is the Isolation Decision-Making Worksheet. This walks you through a process for making ethical care decisions when someone must be isolated. First, you and your team are asked to identify what harm you're trying to prevent, how likely it is to occur, and what the possible outcomes are if it does occur. Next, you are asked to list the strategies your team has already tried to prevent this harm. This includes information about the risks and benefits to the individual themselves, as well as how effective these strategies have been so far. This tool also asks you to involve others in the discussion. You can consult with other team members, public health, leadership in the home, the person being isolated and their family members or friends, and others. This is meant to help you identify who you can reach out to and keep a written record of the input you receive. On the second page of this tool, you can fill out details about your plan moving forward. There is a section to describe your team's plan and how it will be communicated to others on the team. You can also indicate what you are going to do to minimize any risks associated with your strategies and how you will track how effective the plan is. The worksheet is meant to be responsive, adaptable, and regularly updated. It should be a flexible process that can change as the situation changes. It includes a place where you can plan to come back and review the strategies later to see if they are working. This tool supports accountability and transparency in the isolation care planning process. The decisions that you and your team make are documented and justified. This is especially important if you are making decisions to include any more restrictive measures for isolation. While we should always start with the least restrictive measures, if these measures aren't effective, this tool helps with the decision-making process for weighing the benefits and harms of more restrictive measures. It reminds us to plan for how we will prevent or mitigate these harms. This tool will help walk others through the ethical decision-making process your team used to provide the best level of care possible for that person during their isolation period. The next set of tools in the DIT are communication tools. Helping residents to understand what is happening and why it is happening is very important. This toolkit includes several posters designed to work with people with a variety of cognitive abilities. These posters can help remind people to stay in their rooms, to only leave their room wearing PPE, and helps keep track of how long they need to stay in their room. All of these tools are designed to support you through the difficult situations we are facing during the pandemic. It's not just about taking care of people living in the home. You also need to take care of yourself. We hope the tools in the DIT can help you with that. These tools are meant to be used in tandem with a person-centered care approach. Please see the second DIT video for more information on how to keep person-centered care in mind so that isolation care is compassionate and supports residents' unique needs. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the tools in the Dementia Isolation Toolkit. If you use these tools and have any feedback, please share it with us at www.dementiaisolationtoolkit.com.